Ladies and gentlemen, we live in a world where everything seems to be a comparison. Our achievements are compared, our appearances, our relationships, even our thoughts and emotions. The internet, social media, and society all fuel this culture of comparison. But have we ever stopped to ask ourselves why we do it? Why do we compare ourselves to others when we are all unique individuals with our own set of experiences, strengths, and weaknesses? Comparison is a thief of peace. We all know what it feels like to scroll through social media and see others living seemingly perfect lives. The picture-perfect moments, the endless vacations, the smiling families, the career successes. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that everyone else has it all together, while you're just struggling to keep up. But here's the thing. Social media doesn't show the full story. What we see is a curated version of reality. Behind every perfect photo, there's a set of struggles that no one is talking about. When we compare ourselves to what we see on social media, we are comparing our real lives, our struggles, our imperfections, our bad days, with someone else's highlight reel. It's like comparing a raw draft to a finished masterpiece. It's not a fair comparison, and it only serves to make us feel inadequate. But beyond the glossy images online, there's an even deeper issue with comparison. The real thief of peace is the internal dialogue we create when we start comparing ourselves to others. We begin to question our worth, our choices, and our path in life. We start believing that we're not good enough because we haven't reached the same milestones as someone else, or because we don't have the same success or material possession. This constant cycle of comparison brings nothing but frustration. It creates a never-ending race where the finish line keeps moving. We're constantly striving to measure up to someone else's standards, only to find that we're never quite enough. And even if we achieve something, it doesn't feel like enough, because there's always someone else who seems to have more, do more, or be more. This is the trap. It's a cycle that steals your peace of mind and your ability to enjoy the present moment. The truth is, comparison robs us of the joy of being content with who we are and where we are in life. It takes away our ability to be grateful for the things we've achieved. It makes us overlook the small victories, the quiet moments, and the simple joys that come from just being alive and striving to be better, one step at a time. When we focus on comparing ourselves to others, we forget to appreciate our own uniqueness. We forget to embrace our personal growth, however slow it might be. The progress we make is just as valuable as anyone else's, even if it doesn't look the same or happen at the same pace. No two journeys are the same, and that's what makes each one beautiful and worth celebrating. In order to truly find peace within ourselves, we need to stop comparing. We need to silence the voices that tell us we're not enough, and remind ourselves that our worth is not determined by someone else's life. We are enough, just as we are, and we have our own path to walk. Peace comes when we let go of the need to be like anyone else, and simply embrace who we are. It's in accepting ourselves, flaws and all, and recognizing that we don't need to be anyone else to be happy, successful, or at peace. The moment we stop comparing is the moment we free ourselves from the chains of insecurity and self-doubt. It's the moment we can start living life for ourselves, not for anyone else's approval or validation. That is when peace will begin to fill the space that comparison once occupied. Social media is one of the most powerful tools of our generation. It has changed the way we communicate, the way we connect, and the way we perceive ourselves and others. But with all its benefits, it also comes with a hidden danger. That danger is the culture of comparison. Social media has created an environment where we are constantly bombarded with images of what others are doing, what they have, and how they look. It's easy to get lost in this constant stream of perfection and forget that what we see online is not the whole truth. We see people traveling the world, going to fancy restaurants, buying luxury items, or achieving major career milestones, and we feel like we are falling behind. It's easy to think that everyone is doing better than us, living a more exciting life, or succeeding faster than we are. But here's the thing. Social media doesn't show the behind the scenes. It doesn't show the struggles, the failures, or the hard work that went into those perfect moments. It doesn't show the sleepless nights, the disappointments, or the personal challenges that people are facing. What we see is only a carefully curated version of someone's life, a highlight reel. When we compare our everyday lives to someone else's highlight reel, we are setting ourselves up for dissatisfaction. We are not seeing the whole picture, and therefore we are making unfair comparisons. It's like looking at a book cover and assuming that the entire story is contained within that cover, ignoring the depth of what's inside. We see a picture of someone's vacation and think, why can't I travel like that? Or we see someone's perfect body and think, why can't I look like that? But what we don't see are the sacrifices, the struggles, and the decisions that went into that image. Social media doesn't show us the full context. It doesn't show us the sleepless nights, the relationships that are strained, the moments of doubt, or the mistakes that were made along the way. What we see is just a snapshot of someone's life, a brief glimpse of the highlight moments that they've chosen to share. So why do we compare our entire life to a few selected images? Why do we let ourselves feel inadequate because someone else is showing off their best moment? What makes this even more dangerous is the fact that we often forget that everyone's journey is different. We don't all have the same starting points, the same opportunities, or the same circumstance. We are all on unique paths, and yet we try to measure our worth against someone else's achievements. We see a successful entrepreneur and think, I should be at that level by now. We see someone traveling the world and think, I should be doing that too. But the reality is we are all living our own stories, and comparing our chapters to someone else's won't make our story any more beautiful or meaningful. Social media also plays a significant role in shaping our self-image. The constant exposure to filtered images, polished appearances, and seemingly perfect lives can make us feel like we don't measure up. We begin to believe that we need to look a certain way, act a certain way, or live a certain lifestyle in order to be accepted. This can lead to feelings of insecurity and self-doubt as we start to believe that we are not good enough as we are. We compare our bodies, our jobs, our relationships, and our achievements to others, and the result is often dissatisfaction with our own life. But the truth is, social media is a distorted version of reality. People post what they want us to see, and even then, it's often carefully edited to present a certain image. The reality is, everyone has their struggle. Everyone has their own battles that they are fighting, even if they don't share them online. We all go through difficult times, face setbacks, and make mistakes. Yet, social media has created an illusion that only the good parts of life are worth sharing. The bad moments, the struggles, and the raw, unpolished sides of life are hidden behind filters and edits. So when we compare ourselves to others on social media, we are comparing our real lives to an edited version of someone else's life. We are measuring our worth against an unrealistic standard, and this only leads to frustration and disappointment. The truth is, everyone's life is messy in its own way, and that's okay. We don't need to measure our success or happiness based on someone else's highlight. Instead, we need to focus on our own journey, on our own growth, and on our own progress. By focusing on our own path, we can learn to appreciate the small wins and the steps forward that we are taking. Social media should not be the yardstick by which we measure our life. It's important to remember that behind every post, there is a story, and that story is often much more complicated than what we see. By letting go of the need to compare ourselves to others, we can start living a more peaceful and fulfilling life, one that is not dictated by the images on our screens, but by the reality of who we are and where we are going. So the next time you find yourself comparing your life to someone else's, remind yourself that what you see is only a small part of the story. Your journey is your own, and it is valuable just as it. Celebrate small wins, no matter how insignificant they may seem. In a world that often glorifies big successes, it's easy to overlook the importance of the small victories we achieve every day. We get caught up in the idea that only major accomplishments matter, and that anything less than a big milestone is not worth celebrating. However, the truth is that small wins are the foundation of long-term success, and without them, the larger victories would not be possible. Every step we take toward our goals, no matter how small, is progress, and it deserves to be acknowledged and appreciated. Small wins are often seen as insignificant because they don't come with the same immediate recognition or rewards that larger achievements do. We may finish a small task, make a slight improvement in our work, or take a small step toward our goals, and yet, we often dismiss these moments as unimportant. However, these small wins are what build momentum. They create a ripple effect that pushes us forward, building confidence and motivation. It's easy to overlook them, but when we do, we miss out on the opportunity to celebrate the hard work we put in every day. Taking the time to celebrate small wins can also help shift our mindset. Instead of constantly focusing on what we haven't achieved yet or how far we still have to go, we begin to appreciate the progress we've made. This shift in perspective helps us stay positive and motivated, rather than becoming overwhelmed by the larger goal. It's important to recognize that the journey is just as important as the destination. Small wins are the milestones along the way that make the journey worth it. They remind us that we are moving forward, even if it doesn't always feel like it. When we celebrate small wins, we also build resilience. Life is full of challenges, setbacks, and obstacles that can make it easy to lose sight of our goals. But by celebrating the small victories, we train ourselves to stay focused and positive, even when things get tough. Small wins serve as reminders that progress is happening, even in difficult times. They help us stay grounded and focused on what we can control, which is our effort, attitude, and persistence. When we celebrate these moments, we remind ourselves that we are capable of overcoming challenges and continuing on our path, no matter how difficult the journey may seem. Additionally, celebrating small wins can help combat the feeling of burnout. It's easy to get caught up in the pursuit of larger goals and forget to appreciate the small moments along the way. This can lead to frustration, exhaustion, and a sense of stagnation, as we feel like we're constantly striving for something that seems out of reach. By celebrating small wins, we take a moment to pause and recognize that we are making progress. This can give us the energy and motivation to keep going, even when we feel like we're not making as much progress as we'd like. Sometimes, small wins are simply about taking the time to acknowledge the effort we've put in. It might not be about the outcome, but rather the determination, commitment, and perseverance it took to get there. Even on days when we feel like we haven't accomplished much, there's always something to celebrate. Maybe we got through a difficult day, learned something new, or completed a task that was difficult or stressful. These moments are valuable because they show us that we are capable of handling challenges, and that we are making progress, no matter how small. Celebrating small wins is also about being kind to ourselves. In a society that often encourages constant striving and perfection, it's easy to forget to show ourselves grace. We may feel like we don't deserve to celebrate until we've achieved something big. But the truth is, we deserve to celebrate our effort and progress every step of the way. Celebrating small wins allows us to practice self-compassion and acknowledge the hard work we're doing, even when the results aren't immediately visible or recognized by others. Moreover, recognizing and celebrating small wins can create a sense of joy and fulfillment. When we focus solely on big goals, we can often become fixated on the future and overlook the present moment. Celebrating small wins helps us stay in the moment and appreciate the journey. It allows us to find joy in the everyday progress we make, instead of always feeling like we're chasing something that's just out of reach. This creates a sense of contentment, knowing that we are doing the best we can and that every step forward is worth celebrating. By celebrating small wins, we also inspire ourselves and others. When we acknowledge our progress, we not only reinforce our own sense of accomplishment, but also set an example for those around us. It encourages others to recognize their own small victories and to stay motivated, even when their progress feels slow. This creates a culture of celebration and positivity, where growth is valued at every stage, not just at the end of the journey. In the end, celebrating small wins is a powerful tool for building momentum, staying motivated, and appreciating the journey. It reminds us that every step forward, no matter how small, is progress. By taking the time to acknowledge and celebrate these victories, we create a positive cycle of growth, resilience, and self-compassion that will carry us through the challenges ahead. Every small win is a building block for something greater, and it's up to us to recognize and celebrate the effort, dedication, and progress we make along the way. Embrace your uniqueness and value yourself. In a world that often pressures us to fit in, to conform, and to meet certain standards of success or beauty, it can be easy to forget just how valuable we are as individuals. The constant comparisons, whether to others or to some idealized version of ourselves, can cloud our sense of self-worth and make us feel as though we need to change who we are in order to be accepted. But the truth is, our uniqueness is what makes us truly valuable. There is no one else in the world who is exactly like us, and that is something to be celebrated, not diminished. Every person has their own set of experiences, talents, perspectives, and qualities that make them who they are. These differences are not weaknesses, they are strengths. It's easy to get caught up in the idea that we need to be like someone else in order to be successful or loved. But when we do that, we lose sight of the qualities that make us special. It's important to recognize that our individuality is not something to be hidden or changed to fit in with societal norms. Instead, it is something to be embraced and valued because it is what sets us apart from the crowd. When we embrace our uniqueness, we allow ourselves to be authentic. We stop pretending to be someone we're not in order to gain approval or recognition. Instead, we can stand firm in who we are, knowing that we are worthy of love and respect exactly as we are. The more we embrace our authentic selves, the more we attract people and opportunities that align with our true nature. We stop wasting energy trying to fit into molds that don't suit us and start creating lives that reflect who we truly are. This authenticity not only brings us peace, but it also allows us to live more fully because we are no longer hiding parts of ourselves in fear of judgment or rejection. Valuing yourself means recognizing that you are worthy of all the good things life has to offer. Too often, we downplay our achievements, our strengths, and our potential because we believe that others are more deserving or that our accomplishments don't measure up to some external standard of success. But the reality is that you are deserving of success, happiness, and fulfillment just as much as anyone else. It doesn't matter if your journey looks different from someone else's. What matters is that you are doing the best you can with the resources and opportunities available to you. You don't need to wait for validation from others in order to feel worthy. Your value doesn't depend on someone else's approval. It comes from within, from the way you see yourself and the way you treat yourself. Embracing your uniqueness also means accepting your flaws and imperfection. None of us are perfect, and that's okay. In fact, our imperfections are often what make us relatable and human. We all have our own struggles, insecurities, and challenges. But these don't define us. They are part of our story, and they give us depth. When we accept our flaws, we free ourselves from the pressure to be perfect, and allow ourselves to grow and learn from our mistakes. Rather than viewing our imperfections as weaknesses, we can see them as opportunities for growth. Each challenge we face, each setback we experience, can help us become stronger and more resilient, teaching us valuable lessons along the way. To value yourself is also to take care of yourself, physically, mentally, and emotionally. Self-care is not selfish. It is an essential part of maintaining our well-being and ensuring that we have the energy and strength to show up for ourselves and others. When we value ourselves, we prioritize our needs and make choices that nurture our health and happiness. This might mean setting boundaries, saying no to things that drain us, or making time for activities that bring us joy. It means recognizing when we need rest and when we need to push ourselves further. It's about treating ourselves with the same kindness, compassion, and respect that we would offer to someone we love. Embracing your uniqueness and valuing yourself also involves letting go of the need for external validation. Society often tells us that our worth is determined by our achievements, our appearance, or the approval of others. But this couldn't be further from the truth. Our worth is inherent. It is not something that needs to be earned or proven. We are valuable simply by being who we are. When we stop seeking validation from others, we give ourselves the freedom to live authentically and confidently. We no longer feel the need to compare ourselves to others or measure our worth against some arbitrary standard. Instead, we can stand tall in our own skin, knowing that we are enough exactly as we are. When we embrace our uniqueness and value ourselves, we begin to live a life that is aligned with our true purpose. We stop chasing after goals that are based on external pressures or expectations and start pursuing the things that truly matter to us. We become more focused on our own growth and happiness and less concerned with what others think of us. This shift in mindset allows us to create a life that is meaningful and fulfilling.